passed away this year.
Oh, I'm sorry. Now, so when did you first become interested in acting?
I used to watch when I was 5 years old in San Francisco, Sanford and Son, and I never knew that I would want to be on television, but then all of a sudden when I used to watch him, I said, I want to be like him on television. And the great part about it was when I ended up on Different Strokes, they were still doing Sanford and Son, and it was owned by the same company, so I got to meet Red Fox, which was great.
Nice.
That's
Nice.
good stuff.
Oh,
Jealous.
yeah, it was fun.
Yeah. Now, so how did you get into acting? Did you do local theater, or did you say, I want to, like, did your parents get you an agent?
When we first started was in San Francisco. My first show I ever did was The Streets of San Francisco with Carl Malden and Michael Douglas.
Nice.
And then I got a commercial with Carl Weathers, the guy who plays Apollo Creed. It was a United Airlines commercial, but the first commercial, one of the first ones I ever did was a Jello Red Jello commercial, way before Bill Cosby did those commercials. And my mom was in it, my brother was in it, and I was in it, my sister was in it.
Oh, wow.
So, did you have both parents in the house?
Yeah, I had both parents in the house.
Okay. Were your parents supportive of you becoming an actor?
Yes, my mom was. My dad was a longshoreman for a long time. And my mom she taught us how to act, and then she became an acting teacher. She went to acting school with Mark Singer and Cleveland Little. She went to school with.
Okay, so it's nice that they gave you that support, they brought you, so they brought you on the calls.
Yeah, my
all that
mom
stuff.
did, yes, definitely.
All right.
But the difference was, my mom, whenever I went on an audition, the reason why I got a lot of jobs was because not only did I know how to act, my mom never straightened me up to make me look good. If I was dirty, I went to the audition dirty. I went to audition as a real kid, and I usually went in there and usually got the jobs because of that.
Well, that's great. You got some really high-profile jobs right away.
I did, yeah.
I mean, we're talking Barney Miller,
Yes.
Police Story,
Oh, yeah.
Little House on the Prairie, which we'll get back to that in a moment.
Yeah.
But also the Waltons, the Love Boat,
Yep. Roots.
Well, I was going to say, I mean, it's highly acclaimed.
Oh,
Did
yeah.
you see the miniseries Roots?
Yes.
That's
Yes.
big stuff.
Yes.
And
Yes.
of course, then you did Fish, which was, that was a lead role in
Yes.
It was a spin-off of Barney Miller.
Barney Miller, right.
Yes. Yes.
And then that show got canceled because April Gordon wanted more money, and back then they just canceled shows. They didn't do it, and I went right from there to Different Strokes.
Now, you were only this was like, you did all that stuff I just talked about in probably about a 3-year period, I would say about between the ages of 10 and 13.
Yeah.
Like 10, 11, 12?
Well, it was like, it was like 9.
9 and 12?
9 and 12, yeah.
Okay, so now, were you going to school at that time?
Yeah, you went to school on the set.
Oh.
And we would do like 4 hours of school, and then we only could work for 4 hours.
Did you go to public school at all?
I went to public school, but the problem was with public school, they didn't understand when we were doing school on the set, so a lot of times we had to end up going to a school that understood kids that were actors. So I went to Hollywood Professional with, I went with Dorothy Hamill was there, and so was Mackenzie Phillips, the same school I was at.
Oh, wow.
So then, because my next question was going to be, when you were starting to rise up and take on roles, especially on Fish, which was a lead role, were there kids, like some of your peers, how did they handle it? But if you were going to a school with other actors, it probably wasn't an issue.
Yeah, I was going to school with the actors, so it really wasn't an issue. Everybody kind of knew each other, and we hung out, so.
Yeah, that would make sense. Now, right around this time, you were cast as Solomon Henry
Yes.
on Little House on the Prairie.
Yes.
Now, for that role, did your agent send you out for it, or did Michael Landon see you in something and seek you out?
No, I actually auditioned for it. But what was interesting was, I spoke really good English. That show ruined my English. After that, my English was not correct. My mom had to teach me how to speak that way.
Because they wanted you to speak in a way that...
speak like I was, a kid from that era.
Yeah.
I didn't know all the words, so everything was like, yes, and those kind of things. So
Right.
I never spoke like that in real life. And my mom, they destroyed my language, so I had to relearn it again.
That's funny. Now, what were your thoughts on, because you worked closely with Michael Landon.
Yes.
Now, Michael Landon, we have many Little House on the Prairie fans out here, as well as Different Strokes, I'm sure. Now, Michael Landon had a reputation, he he created the show, he wrote the show, he produced the show, he directed the show, he starred on the show. He had a reputation of being very strong and driven to get the show produced in a certain amount of time. He wanted people to go home for dinner on time. What were your experiences like working with Michael Landon on Little House on the Prairie?
He was a very nice person, very nice, and very creative, and also very easy to work with. And he liked working with kids, which is like, that's what you want when you're a kid. You want to make sure the adults like working with kids. And he did like working with kids, so it came off very well. But he didn't want to do things in a timely fashion, and that was okay because that's what we were used to anyway. You know, you get things done, you get to go home. Because kids only can work, you know, they go to school for 4 hours, they only can work for 4 hours.
Right.
They got to get everything done, and I had a lot of dialogue in that show, so they had to get things done with me. So.
Now, how old were you when you filmed that episode?
I think I was 8 when I filmed that episode.
Now, how many of you out there saw this episode, The Wisdom of Solomon?
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. Now, many Little House viewers consider this particular episode not only a standout episode in the series, which ran for 8 seasons, and then there was this, the spin-off series, so 9 seasons, but also people consider it a standout performance in your career. At the time, did you realize the importance of this episode in terms of the themes that it was touching on, such as race and slavery, and also, empathy and acceptance?
No, because I was from San Francisco, and from San Francisco, we really didn't have to deal that much with that. It wasn't until I moved to Southern California that I realized how important that episode really was.
Yeah, this episode took place in the 1800s.
Oh, yeah.
And so many of those themes that took place in that episode really are themes that we talk about, unfortunately, today, in 2026, which is a shame. And at one point in the episode, Solomon asks Michael Landon's character, Charles Ingalls, would he rather be black and live to be 100, or would he rather be white and live to 50? And I'm sure many of you remember that question.
I think I asked him, I said, would you like to live to be 100? And he was like, well, yeah, I'd like to live. I said, well, would you like to be black and live to be 100, or white and live to be 50? Then they played that music, and he was like,
Right, and we were talking about the fact that he never answers that question.
No.
He stands there, and he's shocked by it. And I'm wondering, have you, Todd Bridges...
Have I wanted to be black and live to be 100? Yes.
No, I wasn't going to ask you that.
I did want to be black and live to be 100.
That's a great question. I wasn't going to put you on the spot. No, I wanted to know, have you, Todd Bridges, ever had to deal with racism? And has that line ever really crossed your mind since you said it?
Oh, yeah. I've had to deal with a lot with it. It was like moving in Southern California was a culture shock from San Francisco. We didn't have to deal with any of that in San Francisco. Everybody got along. It was great. Moving to Southern California was a culture shock.
I want to say, and I wrote this out, and I want to say it the way that I wanted to say it, so I'm going to make sure I read it.
Okay.
But I would like to say that your performance in that episode was, I believe, and I think a lot of people believe, truly a highlight of the entire series, and probably one of the most poignant from a child actor that I think most people may have ever seen and ever witnessed. And for that, I'd like to give you a well-deserved round of applause.
Thank you.
And I'd like to give you a standing ovation on that. Because really, I think that was really one of the most incredible performances that I've ever seen. I'd like to say thank you.
I remember some of the dialogue when I was...
Thank you, everybody.
I remember when I was swimming the horse and I was like, death is the rhythm, but it can't cheat me. But I was a soul from heavenly. Lord, I never been up, I never been down, but my soul was heaven bound. I remember that dialogue. I remember certain of it. And usually I don't remember any dialogue or something that I did, but for some reason that one stuck with me. And I was cleaning the horse.
Yeah.
And then she says, that boy may be with us forever.
Well, that really was great. It stayed with me many years now. So now, not long after Little House, you took a climb up Walton's Mountain.
Yes.
And then you took a cruise on the Love Boat.
Climb up Walton's Mountain.
Before you,
I didn't get the cruise.
oh, you mean you filmed on the set?
Oh, yeah.
Oh.
I know, it was terrible.
Did you all know that Love Boats sometimes filmed on
Yes.
the real boat?
Yeah.
And then sometimes they filmed on a set?
Yes.
like Dallas, they filmed sometimes in Texas, and sometimes it was a set of the actual ranch.
Unfortunately, mine was the set.
Yeah, if you watch it carefully, you can see with the lighting whether it was real or not. Sorry. But now, after that, you got involved in this little show about two orphan boys who get adopted by the man that their mother worked for.
Yes.
You know, has anyone ever heard of this little sitcom called Different Strokes?
Yeah!
Yes. So, after taking on some heavy roles, what was it like going into a sitcom?
Well, I liked sitcom work because it was only 5 days a week. It was Monday through Friday, and then you got your weekends to do what you want to do and that kind of stuff. So it was nice. But the thing is, what people didn't realize, we worked 9 months out of the year. So we only got a couple of months off. And usually we were like working on something else when we got off. And it was a lot more difficult, but it's because you work. I kind of like what they do now. They do like 8 shows and then they're done for a while. They come back and do 8 shows like that. That's easier than doing straight 9 months.
So, yeah, now I have a question. In many shows, they start off with a premise, like Family Matters, it was about the family, and then a character breaks out, like Urkel.
Yeah.
Or Chip starts off, you know, and then the next thing you know, Eric Estrada breaks out as Ponch, and he becomes the focus of the show. And I want, you know, when going into Different Strokes, there was a premise, and then, you know, Arnold, you know, Gary Coleman as Arnold really did take off as that breakout character. Did you all know that going in? And even like JJ on Good Times?
What they had to do was, to make that work, they had to put seasoned actors around Gary Coleman. That was the thing. Like, most of us had done things like me, and the show was written for me and Conrad and Gary. And when we did we sold it with a 20-minute presentation in front of the studio, which was never heard of. They never did it before. We went in, did 20 minutes, and before we left the room, they bought 26 episodes. And that doesn't happen normally.
But the show, you know, did any, like maybe you or Dana or Conrad or anyone feel like, oh, it's slipping away, it's becoming the Arnold show?
I didn't care. None of us really cared. It was just about doing the show, making it the best show we could possibly.
Yeah, no, I agree.
And I was a teenager. All I cared about was the teenage girls. I didn't care about Gary.
Yeah.
He did what he wanted. He's a smart guy. So I grew, so I was like, you know.
Yeah.
All the people that came to see the show was mainly teenage girls.
So did you get to actually date Janet Jackson in real life? Or did she just play your girlfriend on the show?
No, we dated in real life for a couple of years.
So cool.
Oh, okay. Do you still talk to Janet at all?
I still talk to Janet. Still have her number, we still talk. Text.
Okay.
We text now more.
Oh, you and I are going to talk, okay.
I can't give you her number, she'll kill
I
you.
don't know, I might ask you to give her I'm just saying, we got to talk about this. All right, now, so I know the audience is going to have some questions for you about Different Strokes and Little House. I'm going to, I'm not going to go too deep into it, but I do have some questions I want to talk about with Different Strokes. So this is what I want to know. A couple of juicy ones.
All right.
Did you get along with your peers, Gary Coleman and Dana Plato?
Yes. I was the go-between for everybody. If you wanted to get a hold of someone, you call me, and I can get a hold of them, and they'd call you back.
Oh, so you were like Switzerland.
Yes. I was Switzerland. I was the neutral zone.
Was there friction on the set, or was it a pretty happy set?
The set was great the first 3 years, and then when Gary's father came, things got a little more hostile. So then we were more, but then I was turning 18, so I could care less. I was about doing my job and going out. So.
Okay, well, I always said if I got to know you well, I wanted to ask you this question. So, I'd like you to rank the housekeepers in your order of favorite.
I could never rank them.
No?
They were all great.
All right.
From Charlotte Rae to Mary Jo to Adelaide to and that was it.
There were 3. Yeah, we had Mrs. Garrett, we had Adelaide, we had Pearl.
Yes, they all were great.
Yeah,
in their own ways.
I'm a purist, so I always loved Mrs. Garrett, but thankfully we got to go and watch her go on to the Facts of Life.
That's right.
So now I know you were on the pilot of. I believe you were on the pilot of Facts of Life.
Yes, I did more crossovers on Facts of Life probably than anybody on our show.
Okay, so
Because Willis was always helping them do something. Willis was a teenager, it was teenage girls, so it made more sense.
yeah. And did you probably enjoyed that, am I right?
Of course. What teenage boy's not going to enjoy teenage girls?
Okay.
It's something fun to do.
All right, here's another question I'd like to know. What were your thoughts on Mr. Drummond getting married and then adding a cute little redheaded kid to the cast?
Well, I'm very close to Danny Cooksey. We're good friends. And I used to always have to shield Danny from Gary. Gary did not like Danny. Because Danny became the cute little kid. So Danny always stayed around me to prevent Gary from getting him. So I hung out with Danny a lot.
Because a lot of people say that, well, that's when the show, they say a show might jump the shark.
Well, it took a turn. Well, it's because they tried to keep Gary as a little kid and it wasn't working at that point. That's when you should have just let him grow up and it would have been better, but they didn't want to do that. And believe me, Gary was tired of trying to be a little kid. Believe me, he was.
Right, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Now, there were a couple of major changes in the show that went on, not just the housekeepers, but, Dana leaving the show at times, coming back for different reasons that we know.
Yeah.
Was that difficult for you to have to see those changes like that?
Well, yeah, because one of our producers, she did not like Dana. She was a woman. She did not like Dana. And Dana always had a hard time with her. And it was, it was to the point to where we didn't know what to do at that point. But Dana was always, she was getting in trouble. She was miserable. Dana actually drove her car. At Universal, that spinning tunnel? Dana tried to drive her car through the spinning tunnel. And she got stuck and got sick. And she broke the spinning tunnel. And our show had to spend $150,000 to fix it. They were not happy with Dana after that.
But she did come back to the show.
She came back. She would do visiting stuff on the show all the time. So
yeah. And then there was another big change with the, I think, if I'm correct, Dixie Carter first played Conrad Lane's wife.
Yeah.
And then she left. Was it Marion Mobley?
Yes, Marion Mobley, exactly. Yes.
Did those changes affect you, or did you just roll with everything?
You just roll with it and have a good time. I was just happy to work and then go home. I was going out by then. I was in my 20s, so I was having a great time.
Now the show also changed networks from.
Well, that's because we got canceled because Gary, his people, it wasn't Gary, his people were driving NBC nuts. And so then they wanted to let us go, and then ABC was like, how could you cancel a top 10 show? And then ABC picked us up, and then they had to deal with these people, and they were like, ooh, we're done with this. But I talked to Brandon Tartikoff years later, and he said that they would have let us last about 14 years. We only went 8. Facts Life won 11. We would have went 14 years easy because we helped NBC at the time, but they were just tired of dealing with these people. So we understood it.
Did this, where you filmed, did that move too? Like, was the set rebuilt?
No, we were still shooting at Universal.
Okay.
Well, we went from a place called Metro Media, which was on, I think it was on, what street is that on? Metro Media was on Hollywood. It was on Hollywood, about way down at the end. And then we ended up, went from there to Universal. We were at Universal Studios for the rest of the time. That was a fun place to film at because we used to be there and the trams would go by and me and Gary would just stop and freeze. And then the tram would go by and then we start walking and they're like, oh, they're real, they're not plastic. We used to fool them all the time.
So did you get recognized a lot when you left home, when you went out? And how did you feel about fame?
I just thought it was another part of life. I didn't really quite understood what fame was until I got in trouble. Then I realized what fame was. Not fun.
Well, before I turn it over to the audience,
Yes.
I'd like to congratulate you on getting through some very public, difficult times.
Yes.
And, surviving.
Oh, thank you. Yeah.
Yes, thank
Clap
you.
for them. I can't clap.
I'm 34 years sober, so.
Yes. Thank
34
God.
years sober.
Thank you, Jesus.
And one of the nicest guys I know. And, I work with a lot of celebrities, and I remember saying to you once, every time I message you, do you remember I said, you get back to me like, bam, like that. I get an answer so quickly, and I don't have to hang on it. And you said to me, my mother taught me that.
Oh, yeah.
And I
Be
said,
on
well,
time and answer people back right away. Don't let them leave them hanging. So.
right. Well, you know, after having gone through difficult times and surviving, do you have any advice for anybody who might be struggling in life and how to get past the hard times in life?
You just can't quit on yourself. You can't give up. Trust God and move forward.
Yeah.
Keep doing the
Amen.
work. That's what it's important to keep doing the work. That's the most important part.
Yeah, I
Really
really
get content with just where you are and keep moving forward to get to where you want to be.
keep moving forward, everybody. If you're ever struggling, I really appreciate that.
Definitely.
And I really admire you for that. And I think we all can learn from that.
Appreciate it.
Thank you, Todd. So, do we have some questions for the audience for Todd Bridges? Heather's coming around with the microphone.
Got a question?
All right.
Just make sure you speak right into the mic, everybody, and nice and loud.
Chrissy, got a question?
Hi. Were you good friends with Dana Plato and Gary Coleman Offset?
Yes.
And when they each passed away, was it really difficult on you?
Oh yeah, definitely. Well, because I never sought out to be the sole survivor of all this. And I thought that Dana and Gary would be around. And Dana went so early. She went in 96, and that was rough. And then me and Gary had to deal with that. And then when Gary went, I'm like, oh my gosh, how am I the only one left? And then Conrad went, and Dana went, and then Charlotte went, and I'm like, okay, I'm the sole survivor. It was tough to deal with, but you got to understand that people are at peace when they finally go back to where they belong. So that's the way I look at it. When you go back to where you belong, you're going to be at peace. You no longer have to struggle here anymore.
What was Dana and Gary like in real life?
They were really good people, definitely. Gary was great until his father showed up. That was made a little difference. Dana was the same. It was always Dana. The Dana was Dana.
Sweet.
Who else?
Who else has a question?
Anyone else?
Did I miss somebody?
Any other questions
Oh, I
for
see
Todd
over here.
Bridges? Yes.
Just speak into the mic.
Do you have any projects coming
Question?
Do I have any projects coming up? Yes. I have some verticals coming up with Vivica Fox and Tara Reid. And I'm starting another movie May 20th.
Nice.
So in a couple of months, now a month and a half, I'll be starting another film.
Nice.
We do have a question.
We have a question over here.
Yes.
Hello.
Hello.
So where did what you're talking about, Willis, come from?
Okay.
Is that written into this?
No, I'll explain it to you. What you're talking about, Willis, back then we had real typewriters. So it was a typo. It wasn't like a made-up line. It was supposed to be, what are you talking about, Willis? But it ended up, what you about Willis? And Gary was very smart where he just said it really fast and they thought it was the funniest thing ever. And then we were always hoping it wasn't in the script, but it would be out sometimes, and they would always make it in before Friday.
Back
We're
in.
like, ah. Well, Willis was always doing dumb stuff, so Gary was always saying it to Willis. And then it moved on to everybody else, and I was happy when it moved to everybody else.
That's great.
I have our next question right here.
Yep.
I'd like to know what advice you would give to young kids now in the business to recommend or mentor them to keep them out of trouble going through business.
Wow, keep them out of trouble, man. I can say you gotta have some strong parents and stay away from people that are doing bad things. That's the best thing you can do. And just keep your head on a swivel and make sure that you're doing the right thing. And I always say experimentation can and will lead to addiction. That's just what it is. Don't experiment, you'll be all right. But it's a tough business for everybody.
Great question. Thank you. Do we have more questions for Todd Bridges?
I think that was our last question.
All right. Well, I would like to thank all of you for coming and the great questions.
Yes.
Especially, how about a big round of applause for Todd Bridges? Sorry, Cricket Strokes, Little House on the Prairie. We are going to be at our table. If you haven't come by, please do. Don't forget to come and see the Little House on the Prairie guys over there. And don't forget to get all the great food and beverages, lots of chocolate from our over 70 vendors. Thank you all so much. And how about one more big round of applause for yourself and for Todd Bridges.
Yay!
His way back
Love
to the
you,
table.
Todd.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you again.